So as the every classes I'm going to write some command and find my folder and let me check the folder. So we are working in the ToDo App folder. So ToDo App. Now I'm going to open this folder in Visual Studio Code. In the last class you have seen that I have created all the REST API in the root directory, means backend in the root directory, and there's one folder is a client folder, which is nothing, it is your annual application. So this class I am going to use two terminal. Right now there is a one terminal and I am going to add one more terminal. So just 1 second. Now, so now there is a two terminal. This is a first terminal and this is a second terminal. You see this first terminal, the root directory is ToDo App. So we are going to run my backend application like node.app.js. So it will start my backend application and it is running. Now I am going to open another terminal and right now we are in the ToDo App folder. Let me zoom it. Okay, now this is fine. Now, right now you are in the ToDo App folder and we have to run this client folder. So we are going to write cd and change directory to client. So right now one terminal is client folder, one terminal is root folder, which is a ToDo App. So now we are going to start npm write a command, and this command will start my application in my with the port number 3000. So just wait, and it is opening in the Google Chrome. Just wait for some time. You see this is a React application. So in this application we are going to create, so we can ignore this all the root directory and we can only focus on the client folders. Okay, so I'm going to close all the stuff and only focus on the app.js file. Okay, as the previous classes. So now let me remove, this is your app.js folder, and I'm going to remove all the code under the app and I'm going to return only the h1 hello world. Just wait for some time and it is working, and now you see hello world is coming. So we are going to create our application. So as you know, I love to use Bootstrap for my styling part. So I'm directly jump to a tab and search Bootstrap. Bootstrap easy for the beginner. It is like very easy tool to handling the UI. So I am going to be use this Bootstrap and just go to this read docs, and we need to be get a link. So where is this link? This is the link where you can add, because we are going to use most of the time CSS stuff. So we have to add this link to my index dot under the public folder, under the HTML folder, and we have to add this part inside the heading part. Okay, and now you see your hello world text should be changed. Now I'm going to close this stuff and go to the HTML part. So now what I'm going to create? So here I'm going to create a ToDo App. So ToDo App is what? ToDo App means where you can add your tasks and your to-dos. You can delete the to-dos, update the to-dos, and multiple things. So we are going to use this all the operation in my front end. So in this application I am going to use all the stuff one by one in this class. So now let's see what's happening. So I am going to create a empty div, and inside the empty I am going to create a div, and I am going to put a class name container. Okay, and I'm going to add one more div and write a class name row justify content center, and I'm going to add a div of class name of call md8. I guess most of the part is already discussed in your previous classes, and I'm going to add a card, not this card, and add some shadow, and also I'm adding my5. Okay, so here you see something is shadow is appearing here, and I'm going to add shadow lg. Perfect. Now I am going to add C class name, and I'm going to write border. Okay, and I'm going to add something like h3 title of to-dos, and p description of to-dos. Okay, and I'm going to add p3. So see how the it looks like that, and also I'm adding some p3 here, so it's look like that. Perfect. Now I'm going to copy this stuff and paste it. See, let me add one more stuff, my2, my2, and my2. Perfect. So this is your UI, where everything is like adding a to-do like that, title of the to-do, description of the to-do, and so on. So right now this to-do is like added by hard coded, something like that. But I want to display these to-dos which is actually written in the database. So this is our target. So I think border looks be only this part. Let me check this part. Yeah, this is looking perfect. Okay, this looking perfect. Okay, so here you see this is the to-dos, and also I'm going to add something like div. So now the UI is complete. UI is looks like this. So add some mx2 for make some margin in by the x-axis, and it is looks like this. Edit and delete. If you want to this some CSS I'm going to add. So it looks like this, and also I'm going to add a horizontal line. So it looks like this. Okay, so here you see there's one edit button and one is like a delete button. Edit button is a button. When you click on the edit, it should be that and some edit option, edit pop-up or edit page, whatever you have to go. This is a delete button. Whenever you click the delete button, this to-do should be deleted. So this is a final UI you have to create it. If you want to add more stuff, like I'm going to add H2 and like task list. Okay, and if you add some color for this text, primary. Okay, this is the looks perfect. So this is your task list and this is your all the stuff like to dos and so on. And if you want to add more detail, so you can add this like and so on. So now I am going to create this entire application by using the backend, because this is the this all the title tools and all these title buttons and everything is like created statically. So we are going to create dynamic, means we need to be get this data from the database. So you know in the like weather application you have seen that weather data can be captured very easily by using the data, by using that server or third party server using the XOS library. So I am going to install that library in my client side folder. So I am going to write npm install and their library name is XOS. So we have to add this and we have to wait for some time. So this is the XOS is ready. Okay. So now this is the all the stuff. So I am going to manage all the stuff. I am going to manage all these things by the different folder. So I am going to create a file here and file name is called service.js. So I am created one more file service.js and I am going to write all the service in this class. So I'm going to create a service class. So this name is class and their name is like task service. Okay, task service, and it is a class. And after that I'm going to add like constant or like yeah constant get to dos. I'm creating a function. Okay, just one second. Okay, now perfect. So get to dos is there and this is a function and I'm going to write a XOS. So we have to use, let me check XOS install or not. So you want to see how the XOS work, you directly write XOS. They are providing the XOS documentation. Sometimes you have to read the documentation, sometimes you forget how the XOS libraries work. So okay, so I'm going to import XOS like this and we have to use XOS dot get, because you know for fetching the data, let me open a Postman, because in this case we have to use both client side and front end side or back end side using in this application. That's why we have to see what is happening and how it works. Okay. So here when you write not post get data and you send this link, so in this case you see this data is fetching. So now I'm going to use this link to fetch this data, because backend server is ready. So you have to write this. Okay, you have to write this. Okay, So this will be written right. Now just one second, we can handle this part same then catch. So then will be return response as an output, and we are going to handle this, and catch is also return an error, and we have to handle this. So let me console.log and see response, and console.log see this error. Okay, so I am going to add response, and I am going what
the one query.
Yeah,
So instead of XVS.get, can you use the fetch API?
definitely you can.
And then the fetch API needs to call that dot then and dot then 2 times.
No, actually you can call and you can use any libraries. If you go to the Access library, the Access is so popular. So if you see their documentation, just go. Let me check this. Just one second. Okay, so internally this API using this like type of external library. If you see this, just one second, just one second, just one second. Their code section, maybe their index.js. So they may be internally they are using the fetch things. So if they are providing library means we are going to use this API library for easy purpose only. I'm not telling that you cannot using the fetch. Okay, you can use any library. There are lots of libraries are there which are helping to fetching this API from the HTTP things. Okay, so it doesn't matter. But for my case, most of the time I'm using the XOS. That's why I'm teaching the XOS. Okay,
Okay.
but yeah, you can use the fetch function. Okay, now so now I'm going to state, but also we have to be export this variable. So export default, and I'm going to use, first we have to create task service, not capital T, it's a small t, and we have to use new task service calling as an object, and we have to export this task service. Now so we are going to use this function from anywhere. You can call this function anywhere, just import this task service and you can use this. So this time I have to use this from import task service from this service folder. And now okay, now you can call like just task service dot get to dos. Suppose I'm calling this function and top of the code, and now I'm going to run this application. See what's been happening. If you go to this inspect, okay, there's something went wrong. Okay, so here you see there's something is error you're facing when you call this function at the top of code in this part. This function means you are calling this function, so that time it is meaning that is returning an error. Okay, an error say that this link has been blocked by the course policy, because you are here using the both local domain with the same with the local domain for both the client and front end side. So they are providing some course policy issue and we have to handle this. I'm not going to deep dive what is the meaning of exactly course policy thing, but we have to handle very easily this course policy in the backend stuff. You have to go back in and you need to install one more extra library to handle that, and that is name is course. And we wait to sometimes just you have to install this course in the backend, and you have to go to this app.js folder and you have to add one more code. First you have to import course by the require keyword, just like that. And just before this task route, oh yeah, maybe you have to app.use and you have to call this course function and you have to run this code, nothing else. And now if you refresh this page, they are giving the in response, and the response you see if multiple thing is here, a status text or something like that, but your value is inside the data, and data contain this output success true, and data contain another data which is your real data, because in the postman you are using the data variable containing the data. That's why it is returning success true and data false and whatever you are seeing here. So this by this way you can be fetch this application. Okay, but we are not calling this function directly here. We cannot call this function directly because it will not update, the UI. We have to use some hooks. So we are going to add one more file and going to name it, file name is task use task hook. Okay, in the hook we are going to use another sub predefined hook which name is like what. Okay, first let's understand how to create that part. So now I'm going to create a variable name is tasks, and create one more variable set tasks. This variable, as this is a function for setting the data. And now I'm going to add a predefined value with the help of just 1 second. I don't know why it's not. Okay, and you have to pass this predefined value, and predefined value is here a empty array, and empty array are taking this place. Now you have to call this function, but generally in this like this type of application we are not calling this function directly. We have to use one more things like call use effect. Okay, in this use effect you can be update, it means your UI will be update after certain number of, after the some, after the some loading stuff has been done. And this is a use effect, and this I'm explaining this use effect in few minutes more. I will explain this use effect function after the few minutes, but let's see what is happening. So inside this function you have to call your function, something like that. So here this task service, go to service. Here this task service is when you calling this task service, this is a response. So I will add a condition here: if response dot data dot success is possible, then we are returning what? Then we are returning product task is response dot data, and the field name is also a data. Else return task as a empty array. If there something went wrong, then we are returning error. Okay, so you have see this. So now when you're calling this get to do's, you can see that when you're calling this get to do's, it is meaning that they are returning task or maybe the error. The two value is can be possible from these two parts, and it's getting from task service that get to do's. Okay, and now you have to call this set task, because after getting this task from this API we have to add the task to this variable, because this variable is a static dynamic variable, and you have to add this task here. Okay, so now if there is something went wrong in this code, let me check. Okay, this, and now after the certain number of time, okay, see, so this task is fetched from this API. I will explain the use effect in brief in few minutes, but I want to be see I want to see what is inside the task. Okay, and if you go to the browser, something went wrong, lots of code is adding. Let me check this. Okay, just 1 second. Just 1 second. Just 1 second. It should be. Why is turning this issue is here? Just 1 second. Okay, Just one second. Why this issue is here? Okay, everything is right. This await function. This is the part. Let me check this. Something went wrong. I guess same API I have done in the weather application. No? Just one second. Uh, this call this get to do's. This to do's will be returning this hooks. Task returning task if data is success, otherwise returning an error. No, 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 no. Just one second. Okay, just let me remove this stuff. Uh, if you I don't know why taking too much time. Get to lose. Okay, there is no error is fetch. Perfect. But this should be under the use effect and passing a parameter. It is meaning that this function will run one time. Say there no. Okay, and we have to be apply tasks here, and we are getting an this error. An error say this task is not defined. So maybe the issue in this case we have to return this function. Okay, because guys, why this error is coming? Because we didn't return this function. If you return this function, that's why it is the returning this now. So we have to be add this part, and you now see error has been gone, and you see task is ready. So now this task is coming, and we are going to set this task with getting this task, and now error has been gone and everything is has been fixed. So now we are going to use this task. If you want to be see, so I'm going to use like different value because we both values similar. So we are going to be make different. So for understanding purpose, we are going to use this. So instead of writing set task, you have to write set to do's. So what is happening, guys? This function is returning something. That's why I'm adding this return value is here. Otherwise, this function is not working. It is not returning anything. And after the returning type, this returning to task or error. So we are handling this task and error both. But if you don't using the error anywhere, so we can ignore this part too. And now set task is ready, means this is the ready task. Now let's understand what is the meaning of use effect. Use effect is a function, it will be update, it will call automatically. You have to call this function automatically in certain number of times. If you passing nothing inside this array, it is meaning that this function call once. means you have to call this function single time. So that's why you have to pass this. If you didn't pass anything, so when you in your website, if you change anything, any value, this function will be executed again and again. So that's why I'm using this value. Okay, and here you see this task is ready. Now this get to do is set to be this variable, and a to do is variable, we are going to display it. So now I am going to remove this all the stuff and only taking one card. Okay, this is card. So I am going to let me console this part. If you see this task here in the console, just one second. Just one second, why this task is returning undefined. Okay, let me see console dot response, and when you refresh this page, here is a console, and data is containing data true, and data is data, everything is right. So you are returning this, and if you go to this task variable, okay, so we have to add in sync property, because this function is getting the data from the server, so we have to wait for some time to getting the updating the variable. And now when you refresh it, and you see task is getting like this. So now instead of adding console anywhere, you see one console is there, and this is a task, and when you refresh it page, and you see there's something is adding displaying it here, and this is the data. I know that something is gone. We have to see this error, why this error is coming, and again is saying that. Okay, so this is data is getting here, and now I'm going to set to do's, and you have to pass task. And now let's see, first let understand why this error is stating that we are not writing the fetch function properly, because we have directly add this function it here, and I know that we have to add this function separately in this file, but we have to also handling this in this react page also. But right now let's me run this application, and we have to handle this. So now let's understand how we handle this part, this type of error in the code. And so I'm going to separately create a file, and this name is use task hook. So it will handle everything, and I will be writing that code in that file. But don't worry, I will also explain why and how this error is handled on the same page, why I'm creating a separate file. So, but before understanding this part, we have to understand how this file is fetching the data. Okay. So now we have to create that file. Okay, I already created that file. So just one second. Okay. So now, so I am going to pass create a function, and name is use task sorry, task use task hook and like this. So now first we are going to create that variable we are going to fetch. So I am going to fetch this variable name is ToDo's, and we have to add one function called set ToDo's, and by default uses set to be a state function empty. Okay. Also we are going to getting some error. If we are getting some error, so we are going to this error like this set error. The first is a variable for handling getting the data, and second is a function which are going to be add or update the data. So this is the like that. Now third, we are not fetching from the server, but this is the part of loading. This something is loading or not, or it is called set loading. Fetching function is called set loading. Saving function is called set loading. By default is set to be like nothing, and now I'm talking about the use effect. Okay. Okay. So this use effect function I'm going to create here a like a async function, and this function is named fetch data. Okay. And this inside this function we are going to be add y spelling is right, asys. I don't know why this error is still. And now I'm handling this try with the try catch, and because we already handled this try catch function in this part, so it doesn't need to be handled this it again. But anyway, uh, come to this part. Okay. Now we are going to be set loading true. What is the meaning that whenever you start this code, means when your code is started, when you starting this fetch function, it is meaning that your loading is starting. If something is a progress bar, you can add in the front end very easily. And now I'm going to task and error is getting from this sorry, we have to add task service that get kudos. Okay. And we have to add set task, set to those tasks, and if we are getting any error, so we have to add set error by this. Okay. Now if something went wrong in from this part, you have to add set error. And also now if everything is completely, you have to add this finally means then either try or catch is completed, we have to add this, and you have to write set loading false. Now we have to see this why this fetching function is returning an error. Just 1 second. First, okay, and you have to call this fetch data function, and unexpected. Just 1 second. It should not be showing this error. Just 1 second, everyone. Okay, I don't know why this arrow function is not supported here, but yeah, it is fixed. This face data. Now see, this use effect is a need two parameter. First parameter is a function, and second parameter is a empty list. If you didn't pass empty list, it will be called many times. Whenever your page is loaded, whenever you click the button, it is loaded again and again. So you have to pass an empty. Okay. And I will also show you how we add some variable to control this use effect. Sometimes you have to add some value here, and that value is controller that we have to control. Means that value change then you have to call this function automatically. I will repeat it again, that function too. Now this function is ready. Now we have to return from this, and the returning part is tasks or to dos, error, and loading. So we are returning three variables from this. And now instead of writing of this constant, I'm going to write what to dos, and don't need to be add this to dos here. To dos, error, and loading, and it is getting from use task. Just 1 second, why this is page is not. Just 1 second, Eva. I guess I know that error, why this error is coming. Let me see this. I need to be create one more component, and that is called main.js, and I'm going to write a, it should be uppercase. Now return, and we are returning everything which is written inside here. Okay, because we are going to an app bar and everything in this file. And, okay, I need to export this part. No, then nothing is changing, everything is similar. Why src main.js? I cannot file the main.js file because yeah. Now I am going to everything in the main.js file. Constant to dos, error, and loading. Use what? I don't know, because it is not export otherwise. That's why it is fetching. Use task. Okay, now. So see, it is completed. There's no error in the console. And if you see the console.log, to dos, you see to dos added here. Okay, everything. Now I need to be add this to dos in this section. Like this part is repeating again and again. If you're removing this part is repeating and again. So we are going to this entire component, okay, and either you have create one more component, name is like task.js, and const task, and see returning this. Okay, and also we have to export default task. Okay, now save it. Instead of writing this, you have to write task and see the same cheese is coming on your picture. Now I want to be make this function repeat it again according to the to dos. So now I am going to remove it and writing this some code which is there some JavaScript code. That's why I'm writing curly braces, and I'm going to use to dos and adding a map function. Map function is already explained in the first or second day of class, and pass to dos to do a function and return task. So this task will be repeating again and again, and this task component display the number of times which the times is equal to the to do's length. So here see, if you see, the to do's will be repeated again. This 5 to do's is there, that's why there, and there is one warning is coming. There's key section. If you adding this type of things which is repeating again and again by the loops, you have to one parameter which should be every key should be unique. So I am going to pass a key to do's dot everyone. If you go to the postman, and you see every to do's has an id which is a unique, so you can add this id as a key which is a unique things, and you see when you refresh it page, the warning has been gone and then no warning is coming to your picture. Now we have seen that, but every to do's are showing the same title and description. So that's why we are using a parameters called props. Okay, props, and I'm props dot title and see description is written here, but still this part is empty. Why? Because you didn't pass these props in this section, in the main.js section. So that's why we are going to pass uh, just one second. So we have to write, just one second, just one second. Wait. You have to pass title is to do dot title. You have to pass here. Description to pass to do dot description. And now you see everything is displayed here. Update one to those, there's something like returning as a title description and so on. This all this data is returning. So I want to see why I'm passing this. Instead of passing this, can I pass this? Let me check this. Yeah, it is also working. So here you see you are going to pass to do like this, but I would recommend you to write this, because sometimes what is happening, that key and the value is different from the database and their UI part. So that's why suppose you are passing in the task.js you're passing name here as a props, but name is not here. So but if you pass name in place of title, it is working, something like that. So that's why I recommend to write this type of things instead of writing this. If you are really confident that your value is same for backend and frontend, then you can write this. Otherwise, you will get an error. Error not, but you are not giving the data like this. So you see when you refresh this page, it show some wait some time and it's showing displaying a like a data. So here you see if you are adding this loading. So here see in this loading part, just one second. I'm going to add a condition. If there's loading, say loading. Otherwise, loaded. So here see when you refresh this page for a few seconds, it is showing. Just one second. Okay, see there's loading and the loaded is coming. So I'm going to use this changing variable in different way. So I'm going to add a loader. I'm going to add a loader in my app.js page, not app.js page, in this page also. In this page, I'm going to add if something is loading, so I'm going to return a some component here, like loading, and otherwise we have to pass nothing, by null. So when you refresh this page, you're seeing loading and then something like that, loading and something like that. So instead of writing this, I am going to add instead of this loading, I am going to add one more component, and this called loader. And in this case, I am going to add constant loader returning this. And I need to be a component, so I am using the bootstrap and pass loader. So no loader. So let me check the component. Maybe there's some progress bar or a spinner. Okay, this is looks better loader in this section. So I am going to return this, copy this stuff, or returning this. Okay, and we have to export default loader, export default loader. Now I am going to use this main.js and adding this loader instead of. Now if you refresh this page, and for the few seconds it is data is been loading, something like that. But good thing is what, like when you like fetching this data, and that time you see, because this is the phase like less data, that's why it is loading very fastly, that's why it loading very fastly. But in the is in the like later time, maybe you will get like more higher data, it will take some second, like 4 second, 5 second, or 10 second. That time loader will be very helpful. And I'm getting one error warning because because React is using class name instead of class. So we have to add this part for handling this such thing, uh, and it is something like that. Now warning will be resolved. And if you want to add more things like and you have to add class name text danger text center. So maybe this will be like going in the center part. Okay, if you want to add some padding, so it will be looks like something like that. Why still a warning is coming? Validate DOM nesting div cannot be a pain. Okay, it say that div is not going to be like that, so I'm going to use div instead of writing this. Okay, so this is the way that you have to add and display the data like this. Okay, now the second, in this first things we are only loading the data, okay, from the server. Now I'm going to see this how the edit function and how the delete function is working, how the edit function and how the delete function is working. So now I guess I'm going a little bit fast in this classroom, but guys, if you are facing any error, please let me know, otherwise I will repeat the entire part. If you're facing any specific if you have any specific confusion in this entire project, please let me know, otherwise I will explain it again. Hello.
No, sir. Okay.
Yeah, most of the part is easy in this case, that's why you are not stuck anywhere. But I will repeat something in this part once more. First confusion is getting like here in the use effect hook. Where is the hook? Here you see that most of people are confused in this part, like empty array. Why I am passing empty array? Okay, so I am going to be explain it in this part. Just wait. We have to update the API first. So go to this task route, and I am going to add this, update this API like that. We are adding if2 value page page and limit, sorry, so you see that I'm passing this, I'm updating this API and passing these things, and I'm going to find and adding two things. When I want to be skip, okay, first we have to add, first we have to get this page and passing request prompts dot page, and passing limit should be request prompts dot limit. Means we are going fetching this two variable from this link. Also this two link is should be a number, so we are going to pass to an integer number, and you see parse int, and we have to skip. Skip means how many data we want to skip and we want to fetch that. So I want to skip the data and limit, and I want to set a limit of limit. So now I'm going to test this API first. Let me go to the backend part. Hello. Now I guess you are getting some noise. Hello. Okay, that's good. So now I'm updating this, run it and terminate it, and now I'm going to postman. So this API has been edited. If you calling this API, it is returning nothing because this type of API is not available. So now I'm going to pass page 0 and limit 2. You see, you're only fetching two data. But suppose I'm passing C, the first updated one is fetching here because you are passing 0. But suppose I'm passing 1, see what is happening. It is fetching another 2 data, but escaping 2 data because 1 into 2 is equal to 2 and it is returning like that. So now I'm going to add this API, same API in my front end. This time I want to, if you refresh this page, data has been gone, no data is coming. So now service.js, okay, and I'm passing this function page and limit, 2 argument, and updating this page. Okay, now API has been updated. So we have to pass this function, these two variables you have to pass somewhere. So it is getting from use task hooks. So we are going to add page and limit, and you have to pass this page limit. Now it is done. Page limit, and done. So you have to call this hook in the main.js file. So you have to update these hooks, but you cannot directly pass 1 and 2. It is returning an error, or maybe you are getting infinite loop you are getting. So instead of writing this, okay, like you have to pass 1 or 2 maybe. This time you have to pass, but after the making this variable stable, it will not work. So here the two thing is passing, third task and second task. But suppose I want to be changed to 0, something like that. But I don't want to be add the 1 and 2 like this way. I want to add some button which is called the pagination, or maybe some 1 or 2 button is getting here. So now what I'm going to write here, I'm going to create two variables. One variable is current page, and adding function set current page, okay, and passing use state 2 or 0. So I'm not adding this, and also we have to add current limit, set current limit, and passing use state, like suppose like 2, by default is 2. So instead of passing this current page, I am passing here current page and current limit. So here it is working, perfect is working. So I want to be update this page from some button. So now I am going to add here another row and adding a paragraph, something like that. Inside the paragraph I am going to add two buttons. BTN primary, and it is like previous, and one more button for next. And suppose this button is going to be some separate, and I am adding class name text center. So it is adding a two button in the bottom section. Okay. Now this two button has task to update the current page and current limit. So now I am adding this function I'm adding a to click functionality here on click. Okay, when you calling this function, when you calling, sorry, just one second. When you calling, when you click this button, it is calling this function. When you click this button, it is calling this function. So let me check this with the alert. Okay, not okay. So when you click this previous button is so okay, and when I click next one is so not okay. So now I'm not saying this, displaying this no okay not okay, but I want to change this page value. So I want to call this set current page, set current page value is what? Set current page plus 1. And now set current page here, current page minus 1. It is meaning that, so let me add here current page. So here you see this is current page is appearing. Let me see display it in this part. You can see in the broad. Okay. So you see the 0 is appearing. When you click on the next, it is -1. Oh sorry, ulta ho gaya na. Okay, now see. When you click on the next, it is updating the value. When you click on the previous, is updating the value. But guys, it is data is not updating. Data is not updating. Okay. So here data is not updating. Page is updating, but data is not updating. So what should I do? So if you go to this page, this data is coming from this hook, and you go to this hook has an empty array. So I am going to be add if something here which is control this function. Right now this function calling only one time when the page is loaded, but I am going to add page here. Why? Because page is an argument, and when I pass page means when every time when the page value change, it will update, it will call this function again. So now save it and go to the refresh it. Now I'm going to send and see page 1 data is updated, page 2 data has been updated, page 3 data has been updated, but in the page 3 there is no data at all. Okay, so you have see this. That's why I am using the use effect. Use effect has an empty array, has a meaning. You have to pass the controller who control this function. Okay, suppose you are passing this current limit. So limit will also use the controller, but right now the only page is enough for making this functionality. So now instead of this, I won't want to be, I don't want to be make this current limits as a one more functionality, just so I'm removing it. Okay, and now it is completed. So also I'm removing this current page. Okay, and also if there is no data is captured, so you have to write if todos dot length 0 less than 1, you have to write no data found, else nothing. So go to next, no data found is displayed. Okay, so this is the way that you have to create the to-do application. So now you see the next button, previous button, and also you understand the huge effect things in this part. The next class I am going to explain this edit functionality and delete functionality. So now I am going to share the code with you. Now I'm updating the code, and you will get the code on the same repo. Okay, the repo is already shared in the classroom, and now this part is completed. If there is any confusion, you can ask me, otherwise I will log off. Any confusion? Guys, no confusion, na? Okay, sir. Okay, guys, we'll meet again on the next class where I completed this edit and delete functionality, and I will give you some assignment after the next class. Okay, which is related to my previous classes. Okay, guys. So bye. We'll meet again on the next class.